I'm gonna tell you 5 ways the Mustang Mach-E wins as an EV. I got 2 of them right here to show you around. My name is Eric, this is RevMatchTV. Number 1, the Mach-E is not a Tesla. And I know what you're gonna say, but look, the styling and design is way more interesting. This is based on the Mustang. And number 2, it's not a Tesla because the build quality is way better. And yes, there's some downsides to it not being a Tesla, but we're gonna talk about that in just a minute. So is this a Mustang or not? Well, people are gonna argue about that, but it definitely has some Mustang lines. And I think personally, this is one of the very best looking EVs on the market. This is the California Route 1. And so this is sort of a mid-range version. This is at about $50,000. And there are some differences with the styling from the GT. That is my personal GT Performance over there. And so you can see in the front here, the headlights are a little bit different. They've got 3 elements over here. We've got 2 over there. But the main thing is in the grille area, this is sort of integrated right into the bumper. And also down here, we don't have the little sort of air dam, the little vents on the side that we do on the GT. And this doesn't have a lip. Going over to the GT, we do have this really interesting looking grill, but it's not really a grill. There's no air going through there. We do have air shutters down there, and we do have this down here, this little air dam. So that's one of the big differences in terms of the styling. And from the side and the back, it's pretty much the same. This does have different wheels. But I think one of the other differences we need to talk about is the build quality. And with that, it's the interior. So I'm gonna hand it over to Ethan.
So you step inside a Mustang Mach-E and you're immediately greeted with an interior that is clearly nicer than a Tesla. The build quality is nicer, the materials are nicer. I'd say this is even on par with maybe something you'd get in a Lexus. Definitely one of the nicest Ford interiors I've seen to date. Clearly, yes, there are some things in here that are influenced by Tesla, this big screen, but you do get a volume knob here, which I really like. And check this out, there's actually a display back there, which is super useful. And look at this. It's actually round. It's not a yoke. There's actually a real wheel here. A couple other things that I like, physical knobs and switches for some functions, including the gear selector right here, which is really nice. Overall, I love this interior. It's a really fantastic place to be and comfortable too.
If you want to spend a little bit more money, this is the GT, and there are a couple of differences here with the interior. The first thing that you get with the GT Performance Edition is much nicer seats. These have a lot of bolstering on the sides. They've got something called Mico in here, which is an Alcantara style fabric. It's reflective. You've got more bolstering down here. The seats are very comfortable. You've also got suede or Alcantara on the doors, and you've also got it on the dash as well. And this panel over here, this is the sound bar, so you get the B&O sound system in here, and I think the interior here is fantastic. It's definitely as good as a Lexus, way better than Tesla. Sorry, Tesla fanboys. So the next thing we want to talk about is practicality. So this is a very big front frunk, not quite big enough for me, but we can actually get about 5 cubic feet of stuff in here. Perhaps someone who's a little bit smaller than me might fit in perfectly, but this is a nice additional thing to have as this extra frunk, and actually it has a drain plug in there too. So these vehicles are super practical in terms of the amount of storage you can get. Let's walk around to the back for a second, and I'll show you how much space there is in the back seat. So again, going with the practicality thing, this is a really useful vehicle. You can use this day to day. You can go to the market with this. You can put people in here. Look, I've got a ton of knee room. I've got a ton of headroom, even with this glass panoramic roof. It's really quite comfortable back here, and I've got a couple of USB ports too. And let me show you the rear frunk, which is not really a frunk. It's actually a hatch. And so in the back, we've got a ton of space for filming stuff, and the seats actually fold down too. So look at how practical this thing is. When both seats are folded down, you've got about 60 cubic feet of cargo space. If you want to spend big on the GT, one of the things that you get is the special Ford trunk. Yes, it worked. Yes, it worked that time. It doesn't always work, but I think this works better than on some other cars. Are you impressed? I was impressed. So I did promise there are some downsides because this is not a Tesla, and that is right over here. It's charging. And here's the issue with charging the Mach-E compared to a Tesla. With Tesla, you're dealing with the supercharger network, which is very big, it's extensive, and you can basically show up at a charger and get charging up to about 250 kilowatts. Here, you're limited to 150, which means your charging is going to take longer. That's just the way it is. Also, you're not dealing with a centralized charging network. You're dealing with a bunch of different networks like Electrify America, EVgo, a bunch of others, and your charging is not going to be as good an experience on a road trip. There's no question about that. However, in terms of overall cost compared to a Tesla, it's going to be about the same. So that is the biggest difference between this and a Tesla. If you've got to have that charging network, you should definitely go with a Tesla. And also, I waited 8 months to get this. These are very hard to get right now. If you want one, go to your dealer, get your order in. That's my recommendation. So there are all the reasons why you want to get a Mustang Mach-E over a Tesla or something else. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. My name is Eric. Ethan is behind the camera. See you in the next video.